What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fleet Brothers channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I take photos for every single one of my car's Turo listings. Whether you're renting your car out on Turo or if you're trying to sell your car online, whatever you need these photos for, following these steps will make sure that you get the most money out of your car as possible and you have the best photos possible. So the first step is make sure that you get a car wash on the car prior to taking any photos. You don't want to be taking a picture of a dirty car because you're going to see that later on in the photos, and you want to make sure that your car is looking as good as possible before you take these photos. Step 2 is to make sure that you find a great background that really represents the city that you're trying to make money on your car in. So I personally live in Denver, Colorado, so I picked a background that has both the Broncos Stadium and the city skyline right there in the background. That way it really signifies where the car is being rented out, or if in your case you're selling the car, it makes it more attractive for any local buyers. Next thing to keep in mind is the time of day that you're taking your photos. I'm personally taking the photos at 5 o'clock p.m. right now, which means the sun is shining directly on the car so that I have the car in good lighting and I also have the background in great lighting. Now, when you're taking these photos, it helps to have a nice camera like a DSLR. I personally have the Canon R, but you don't necessarily need that. iPhone cameras or Android cameras are pretty good these days. However, if you do have access to something like this, it's a great plus. I personally use a zoom lens. This is a 17 to 55 millimeter zoom lens, so I can get different shots throughout taking photos of the car. The first set of photos that I'm going to take are all of my exterior photos. So these are the photos of the outside of the car. I'm going to start with taking what I call the money shot, which is kind of the angle that I have the car at right now. It really shows off all the features and all the curves of the car and makes it a great first photo for your listing. After I take that initial shot, I'm going to make sure to move the car for each additional photo of the exterior. That way I have the same background, but it's different parts of the car that I'm taking photos of. Don't simply walk around the outside of the car and take photos, because then you're going to get things in your background from all around where the car is parked. And you've chosen this background for a reason, so make sure to use it. If you're taking these photos for a Turo listing, or honestly, most online platforms, keep in mind that the website will automatically crop in a little bit to your vehicle. So you're going to want to leave a little bit of extra space on the outside of your car when you're taking the photos, so that when the website crops it automatically, you're not actually cutting out any of the car from your picture. Another tip for you is be mindful of how high or low you are when you're taking photos of the car. A lot of times I like the effect you get when you crouch down and take photos of the car versus taking it from a bit higher up. I'll show you a comparison here. This is me taking a photo from a bit higher up, and this is me taking a photo from a bit lower down. I'm sure you can see the difference there. Now, similarly, how far away I am from the car will also drastically affect how the photo turns out. If you're far away from the car and you zoom in, it's actually going to make the background want to blow up a little bit more behind the vehicle, versus if I'm closer up to the car and I have a shorter lens on, then it's going to make it look like the background's a bit smaller, but it might give you a cooler effect on how the vehicle looks itself. So I'll show you a comparison. Here's me taking a photo from further back but zoomed in, and you can see how the background behind the car is a bit larger. Now here's a photo from when I'm a bit closer to the car, and you'll see how small the background is, but the car does look a bit different. So depending on the effect that you're going for, keep these tricks in mind so that you can get the best photo possible. Now, when I'm taking photos of the car, I'm being mindful of anything in the background that I might want the car to block as I'm taking the photos. So look for any weird poles in the background or cars parked that you want to block with the car that you're taking photos with. I'm personally blocking right now a white truck in the background so that I don't have to edit that out of my photos. Now, as I'm turning the car and taking all these exterior shots, make sure to also be taking your detail shots as you go. So that would be like the logo on the car, the lights on the car, or anything like that, that you want to make a more detailed, crispy, close-up shot. When you're taking those shots, try to utilize the rule of thirds. Now, the rule of thirds is pretty simple. You want the detail that you're taking a photo of on the car to be in the top left third, the top right third, the bottom left third, or the bottom right third. Here's a few examples of how I use the rule of thirds, taking those detailed shots. Remember also to open up the doors as you're taking these exterior photos. It definitely adds an element to your pictures. Now, as we transition to these interior photos, you're probably going to be getting into positions in the car that you've never been in. I'm laying the seats down and I'm just going to be standing on those, trying to take photos of the dashboard, take photos of the backup camera, the steering wheel, everything like that. So make sure to utilize different things in the car to get the best photos possible. I'm also going to be rolling windows down, putting them back up, making sure that I can get the best possible photos. And this is when you're going to be wanting to utilize a wide angle lens because you're in such a small space. Trust me, it can be difficult getting great interior photos, but you'll make it work if you just put yourself into different positions within the car. Now, my favorite way to take photos of the back seat of an SUV is to roll the windows down on the back door and then keep it open, but point the lens through the window and take a nice photo of the back seat. All right, now similarly on the front seat, I'm gonna be rolling down this driver window, and then I like to close the door and just take a photo of the front seats through that open window. All right, now when you have the basic interior photos done, like your front seat, back seat, steering wheel, dashboard, anything like that, now move on to taking photos of any like exciting feature about the car. So if it has a reverse camera, try to take a photo of that. If it has heated seats, take photos of that. Premium speakers, blind spot, sensors, anything like that, try to take detailed photos of. Once you have these shots done, you should have a very solid online listing. If you want to see how I edit these photos after I take them, stay tuned for the next video.